Welcome back to another ValueBytes episode. I'm excited today to have Ivan and Mariana joining me. We talked the other day and you told me a lot about your background, and I feel like we probably would need 4 interviews to get through everything. But I appreciate you coming on today. So, I know you both have a really great background in business transformation. So I'd love if you just share a little bit about your journey going from aerospace executives to now advising business owners, how you got there, and what you love about what you're doing today.
Well, we had a difficult, tough time in business. We ran a very demanding aerospace company that had a 24/7 production, and we woke up many times in the morning to a lot of difficult problems. Things would fall, things would go wrong all the time overnight, and it was we used to call our business the non-sleeping kind of business because there was always something going on. So we had a pretty steep learning curve, kind of taming the beast, if you would, of our business, and we had to learn a lot. It was a lot. We had a cultural turnaround. We had a business turnaround because in 2008 we lost 95% of revenue. For about 6 months, it was pretty dire straits, whether we're going to survive or not. And we found a way, and then slowly started rebuilding and ended up quadrupling the business and ended up selling the business to private equity, which was a great outcome for us. And through all that learning, we sat on some 400 board of directors meetings and learned what to do in all kinds of difficult situations for business owners from the inside out. Seeing all that, we feel like we've lived several lifetimes of having spent 12 years in a boardroom. And taking all that experience, now we're helping other people do the same thing. The business at one point was heavily dependent on me, and I hit a pretty steep burnout stage where I drove up to the building one morning and I couldn't get out of the car. It was that bad, and I realized that I better change something. Otherwise, I don't think I'm gonna come out of this situation in one piece. And so from that point on, we focused heavily on building a business that's not dependent on me at all. And through that journey, now we're helping other business owners achieve those same results. And that's pretty much our job now. We very much focus on helping businesses grow and scale and prepare the business to be stable and sustainable and solid no matter what the business owner wants to do, whether they want to keep the business for the long term or whether they want to sell it at one point.
You mentioned the burnout that you experienced, and it sounds like that was just the breaking point of you had something had to change. As you went through that pivotal moment, what are some ways that kind of the way you thought about your business, the way you thought about the sustainability of it and your role in the business, how did that kind of start to shift and change in your mind?
Well, I don't know. I call it an awakening of sorts. I In that one moment, I had kind of the clarity that I think that I'm a heart attack waiting to happen. I'm gonna have a stroke or something. I'm gonna fall over one of these days. I felt like if I walk into the building one more time and I hear the same set of problems from the same set of people, I'm gonna lose it. And I just had a moment where I said, you know what? Even if the business is gonna come, you know, even if the survival of the business is at threatened, is still a better outcome. I must do everything possible to make the attempt to build a business that isn't dependent on me. And a lot of times it's very scary. It's a scary proposition. It's a scary thought. Will they be able to handle it? Is this gonna go sideways? Is it gonna are we gonna lose it? Are we gonna lose customers? There's also a big identity piece where your business is my business is me, and I am my business. That kind of thing happens a lot with founders, and it definitely was the case with me. And that big kind of shakeup on the inside for me was what I needed to start to let go and start to look for other solutions and start to think that, you know what, either it's going to work or it's not going to work, but I must do everything possible. At one point, I didn't think it was even possible that a business could run without me. I was that pivotal, and a lot of people think that it's not even possible. I'm buried. Who's gonna do all this? No one's gonna ever do all this. Founders think that they're kind of the unicorn, and in a lot of ways they are. Multi-dimensionally talented people that take on a lot and survive and win. But at some point, as the business grows, it outgrows one nervous system,
Mm.
and when it outgrows one nervous system, then uh, either you recruit other nervous systems or you just get ready for burnout because
Yeah.
it outgrows the capacity of one human, and at that point you have a choice to make. You either you either adapt and keep allowing the business to grow in a new way, or you get ready for serious outcomes with your health.
Yeah, that's a pretty tough position to be in. And I can imagine that someone who's the leader of an organization feeling this stress, this burnout, this idea of I'm the only one, no one else can take this burden away from me. Hearing someone like you talk about that you can actually help get their organization to a place where the impact and the freedom that they have and the way that they can, really choose how they want to be involved in the business is so open to them after they go through the work with you. That's got to be something that's even hard for people to believe when they're in that situation. And so tell me a little bit more about when you talk about helping organizations make impact and giving those owners that freedom beyond traditional success. What does that mean to you, and why is it so important for someone who feels stuck to understand that that is a possibility for them?
Well, for a business owner, it is expected to work hard, to carry everything, to be responsible for everything, no matter if it's a $5 decision or a $5,000 decision or $5 million decision. And if you, as a business owner, kind of digress from that, if you try to make more time for you or, kind of be not there all the time, you are perceived as irresponsible almost in those circles, like how dare you, not be there, all the time. And in a way, we decided to change that paradigm to say, well, it is possible to have a company, to be an owner, to take vacations without having to, keep your phone on and your email and everything. And it is possible to build a team. For us, it was very important to, all those people that we hired, they were excellent people. They were absolutely amazing. But once they were in the company and, and the centralized decision making was happening, they didn't get a chance to shine. They didn't get a chance to live to their full potential. And, soon you have all these people who are absolutely incredible, even either, being mediocre team members and employees, or they're going someplace else for a different opportunity. So when a business owner decides to unburden themselves and share the responsibility with their team and build a strong team, they are giving those people a gift in a way, and helping them become better and grow as leaders and grow in their positions, and I mean just be much better than if they were going to be someplace else or stuck in that company. So for us, it was almost like that was the purpose. Like, how can we let other people shine? How can we let other people, help them, like as they say, tide raises all boats. So how can we do that for other people? And we succeeded in our company. And now when we work with other owners, business owners, we also include that in the narrative and in the purpose of, why are we doing this work, so that all those amazing people that you hired can actually be amazing in what they do in your company.
Mm. Yeah, I love that you mentioned the people because so many owners, and I'm sure that you had a lot of this experience too, the one of the reasons they push themselves so hard and they feel like they cannot fail or even slip a little bit is because so many people depend on them and depend on the business. And if they let up, then they're letting their teams down when in reality, by not letting up and by not letting go, they're really letting their teams down. That's such a great point that I think people just don't think about, that we have to give the people we employ the freedom to really live up to their full potential, or else we're actually doing them an injustice.
Yes.
Yes, many times we had very difficult challenges in our business. Some would say impossible challenges. One time we had a customer demand zero defect products. Zero defect in manufacturing is a myth, but it was a demand that had to be met. Otherwise, it was a very difficult thing, and we were making 11,000 parts per day, and every day 11,000 new parts. And so from one day to the next, we didn't know if those parts were good or not good anymore.
Right.
It was crazy,
And
and
that's a lot of opportunity for error.
it was very, very difficult. And then I would walk up in front of our team and I would say, this is a very difficult task. I don't know if we're gonna make it or not, but what do we do? I mean, we can't just crawl up in our hole and give up. I mean, how are you gonna feel better tonight when you go and see your kids? You're gonna feel better if you took on the impossible, right? You're gonna feel like you stood up to the challenge, and you have your stories to tell, and you can on your resume for the rest of your life, you can write down, we took on the impossible and we made it. And it's a big deal. I mean, huge part of the big culture shift that we created was that we really started caring about the growth of our people, and we really started framing every new initiative that was needed for the business and was needed for the growth and stability and transition from central decision making to team decision making. We framed it all as in, this is a great opportunity for you. Here's what's great going to happen to you if we achieve these things. Here's what's going to happen in your career. Here's what's going to happen in your life. Here are all the benefits that you will get with those opportunities. And nowadays, our biggest, most rewarding part of selling our business was who all those people became. We literally changed lives with the opportunities that we provided, and we had everyone rise to meet those challenges, and who they became in the process is the proudest thing that we can think back on.
I love that. That's such a great way of thinking about it and looking at success as not just what happened for you, but how you were able to impact those people that worked with you. So I think this is a good segue into telling us a little bit about your shift intelligence model, or I'm sorry, shift intelligence method. Tell me what that is and kind of how it plays into really supporting this team idea, getting the leader out of being the only one, that feels like they're doing everything, and more into a team mindset.
Right. Well, as Ivan mentioned earlier, something had to shift in his approach as a business owner, and also in our background, how we grew up. If we felt like we were ready to do that because we had to shift multiple times, growing up, going to school, trying different careers and things like that. So every time something starts happening and kind of veering into the direction that you don't want to go into, you have to make a shift. And also, if you are piloting a plane, the pilot, I don't know how many people know that, but they're constantly making shifts in their direction in order to get to the destination. It's not just one straight line, and they do that depending on the wind, the conditions, the height, the all of that. And for us, in hindsight, that's how we came up with the method after the fact. In hindsight, we kind of sat down and we said, what are all the moments, big and small, in which we had to change our approach, change something that we were doing so that we can either avoid a catastrophe or, make a better result, for us and for our team members and everybody else. And that's how the method came to light. That, and shifting, and we all even say, shift before the shit hits the fan, recognizing those moments where, things are kind of starting to, and obviously you have internal and external factors in the business, and some of them you can control, some of them you cannot. But the sooner you realize when, some things are going in a direction that is unfavorable to you, pausing and assessing and saying, okay, what is the shift that I need to make in order to either avoid a catastrophe or make something better? So like, for Ivan, that was the realization that he's carrying too much. And if something was not going to change, he was going to get a heart attack. Also for me in the business, I felt like I was a chief cultural officer and I was almost like a mama in the business. I was taking care of everybody, and being too involved, and a lot of things fell on me. And then once I started hiring people, they were taking over some of the tasks. And at first that was hard for me to accept. I would come in and then some things will be done already. And I'm like, oh, wow, she took initiative. That's great. But I kind of feel jealous. And that was a shift needed in my behavior to, not be as controlling and let other people take initiative and just inform me that things were done, not necessarily that they needed to ask for permission.
In today's world, also, it's the change out there is accelerating in a big, big way. And what used to be the case where maybe you start a business and you get a lot of traction and you're good for a few decades, it's, not the outside environment isn't shifting as much. But today, I don't think that you can rely on that. I think the environment and everything is changing very fast. Technology is accelerating. Geopolitical situation isn't stable. So all those factors really demand a more flexible, more adaptable approach, more an approach that will actually uh, be able to respond in a much quicker way and right the ship and find new solutions and find new directions and new shifts that are required in order to continue to find success and continue to find relevancy and continue to find sustainability for the business. So all those factors on the shift intelligence side are crucial. And many times we get tunnel vision on something. And so when you're in the tunnel vision, you're more vulnerable to all those changes that are going on out there.
Right.
So shift intelligence is literally how can you raise your capacity as much as possible to be more adaptable. Um, you know, only the strong survive. Only the most adaptable succeed.
Yeah.
Is what shift intelligence is all about.
Can you tell us a story about maybe a success story with a client that you've had? I know you shared a few of these with me before. So, what's kind of your current favorite story of how you've come in and implemented this with a client and seen big change in their business and in their life?
Well, my favorite one is more on a personal side in a family business, about a father and son, and having a dynamic which was not the healthiest one. I mean, everybody who went in the business with the family, they will tell you stories about different things. So this was a very seasoned business, doing really great, been in the business for a long time. Father was the founder, he's the founder, and he's one of his sons, which was one of the youngest children. He works there, and the father was ready to shut it down because he wasn't sure that the business can continue without him once he decided to retire. And that the son is actually capable of doing it. Now, the son is very capable. It's just that he wasn't taught how to be a business leader, how to be a business owner. And they just needed an intermediary, if you will, because the way that they were going, the business was going to be shut down. not because he was doing bad. It's just because there was no plan in place for transition and taking over from the founder. And once we came in, and after multiple conversations, together and then individually with them as well, couple of years later, they doubled the business. The founder is as excited about it as he can be. He doesn't want to leave. He doesn't want to shut it down. He doesn't want to retire. The son is doing amazing. He's already a partial owner of the business. So it was that one shift in the if I was going to chunk it out to one biggest shift that happened, was that in a way how they were relating to each other. So they in the way how they were relating to each other as a founder and an employee, the father and son, and now how they're relating to each other as partners in the business. So it's like a multi, and then also there were other business shifts that they made within the business, but that's my favorite one.
I love that. And it's interesting how, that creeps out so far beyond just kind of what they probably thought were the initial issues of, I don't think my son can handle running this business, and the son thinking, well, I don't think my dad's giving me enough credit. And then it's like, oh, wait, there's all these other layers to everything that's going on. And by starting to address those, you can fix so much more than just the business, right? But their relationship, it sounds like.
Absolutely. And then there was another shift that was also causing them a lot of stress, which was being a seasonal business.
Mm.
That caused a lot of stress during, winter months. And that was also contributing to the friction. Once we made a shift in how they were doing the business and how they're now not even seasonal anymore, that they always have work during the winter too, that, kind of stress is elevated from their lives, and they can just relate to each other in the best way.
Well, if an owner is listening right now and they're thinking, there's no way that my business can ever go from stressing me out so bad to these amazing outcomes, what is one thing that you would suggest that they do today to start shifting in the right direction?
I would say that create a pause, a significant enough pause where you're able to think. When you are hijacked, 24/7, and you are running, you're running, plugging all the holes, running, doing everything, your entire nervous system is hijacked in a high stress kind of fight mode, if you would. You firefighting out there, you're, you know, changing diapers, babysitting, whatever, however you're gonna call it out there. And that's not the best state for thinking clearly.
Yeah.
And so what I would encourage is, maybe you can have a 30-minute, if you cannot afford a 30-minute, how about a 15-minute period where you can just think a little bit about the bigger picture of your business, so that you're not just in a full running around mode. And whatever the amount of time you can dedicate, pick a good time when it's the quietest. I don't know when that is in your day. Maybe it's right before you open, or maybe it's I don't know. So you pick a time where you can have the clearest mind and start thinking about what are some things that really I could afford to get some help.
Right.
What are the things that could ease and create a little bit more thinking time, and gradually chip away in that direction? And I think that would be the most important start, because the more clear thinking time you can create, the more you probably know what to do, but you're just not getting to it. And that's the one piece. I'm right with you that it might feel impossible, because it felt to me like that. And I'm telling you, after coming out on the other side, it is possible. It can be done. Other people have done it. It just requires a little bit of a different approach and a little bit of a different point of view. We just need to shift your point of view slightly, and see what can happen out of that. It's definitely possible, and you can do it.
Yeah. And you can, if you're a business owner, you can ask yourself some internal questions, because a lot of the focus of a business owner is external, because there's so many things to do and so many people to talk to and so many tasks to handle and fulfill. But what if if you were to go internally and you ask yourself, if I was to do this differently, how would that look like? Also, what is next, for me? If I was to not do this anymore, what will be next? How can I maybe put that? Oh, and also another thing is, how is my relationship with my spouse? Whether it's male or female. How is my relationship with my children? Do they want to be around me? Do they miss me? Am I missing some of their things? Kind of connect to the higher purpose. And for some people, that's just simply, as Ivan said, thinking for 15, 20, 30 minutes or half a day. For others, is sitting in meditation. There's people also who use prayer for that. They just dedicate themselves to that as well, to get a guidance from somewhere. So asking more of the internal questions, I would recommend that as a first thing to do.
In the bigger picture, only 20% of people create some kind of a transition for their business where their business can go beyond them. 80% of businesses either go bankrupt or shut down, or there will be a transition for your business. That is not an option. Father Time is undefeated. There will be a transition in your business, whether it's going to be intentional and on your terms, or it's going to be dictated to you by either life or health, or a buyer or somebody to tell you what to do in your transition. There will be a transition. So I recommend that you create your own transition, on your terms, at your time, and to make sure that you are going to be satisfied by that. The best way um, to create a better outcome is to be intentional and do it on your terms.
I love that. Well, that is some excellent advice. I may take some of that in for myself. Take a few moments to just pause and really think. And I love the idea of getting out of that hijacked state, letting yourself breathe and calm down, because nobody's making good decisions when they're in that state. So that is some excellent, very easy to implement advice. Well, Ivan and Mariana, if folks are listening and they are like, I don't know how to get out of this hijack state, everything's a mess, I need help, where can they find you?
They can find us online, both through social media on LinkedIn and Facebook, and also our website is shiftintelligence.co. And if they go there, they can hear more and see more about our story. They can also download some tools that we have in the toolkit, so they can immediately start implementing some things. They can hear a podcast and a masterclass about us and about how we overcame some of the things and the results that we achieved with our clients, and also what does it mean to them and how they can implement some of the things in their businesses right away. So shiftintelligence.co, and also find us on LinkedIn and Facebook. And we love talking to people, we love connecting with business owners, we love talking to you also. It was incredible, in our preparation for the podcast, and we are really honored that we got to share this space with you today. So thank you.
Thank you again.